Setting up strong access control is essential for any network, and the Catalyst 1300 switch makes it easy to integrate with a TACACS Plus server for centralized authentication and management. Once you have your TACACS Plus server ready, whether that's Cisco ISE or another solution, you need to complete some configurations on your Catalyst 1300. The switch needs to be able to communicate with your TACACS Plus server to enforce the security policies you configured. This ensures that any access attempts or configuration changes are properly checked and logged. In this first of a two-part episode of Cisco Tech Talk, I'll demonstrate the switch configuration via CLI on Cisco Catalyst 1300 series switches using the version 4.1.7. Next. You may have heard this once or twice before, because of course you have, but it's important to keep your Catalyst 1300 switch up to date with the latest version of firmware available. Version 4.1.7 is especially important. It introduces two significant capabilities: TACACS Plus Command Authorization and TACACS Plus Command Accounting. I should mention, these features are not available on Catalyst 1200 series switches, since that series doesn't support TACACS Plus. The Catalyst 1300 series switches have already supported TACACS Plus in previous versions, but this new firmware takes it further. It allows the switch to check every command a user enters against the TACACS Plus server. That means instead of simply relying on privilege levels like 1, 7, or 15, the switch can now verify whether a user is actually permitted to run a specific command. In addition, you can configure the switch and send accounting information for each individual command executed in a session back to the TACACS Plus server. This gives you greater visibility and control over administrative actions. To get started, connect to the switch through the console and show the command show version to make sure the switch is running firmware version 4.1.7. You can also use show system to confirm the switch model. If needed, upgrade your firmware before you proceed. Move into global configuration mode by typing configure. Enable SSH on the switch with an IP SSH server command. Then enter one of the new commands available, AAA Authorization config-commands. This tells the switch that all configuration commands will require authorization. To point the switch to the TACACS Plus server, enter the TACACS-server host command, followed by the server's IP address and the shared key. I'll enter TACACS-server host 172.19.1.234 single-connection key, capital C, exclamation point, SC 0123. Next, you can configure AAA authentication and authorization for login. I've defined a list name called SSH that uses TACACS as the first authentication method and local as the second. You'll hear me refer to this method list named SSH throughout several upcoming commands, so keep it in mind. This list tells the switch to contact TACACS first for authentication. If the server is not available and doesn't respond, it will then try the local method, which is the local users configured on the switch. I am enabling AAA authentication and authorization for logging into the switch with the command AAA authentication login authorization SSH TACACS local. Be aware that the method list name is case sensitive, so an all capital SSH is different from a lowercase SSH or any other variation. If you leave out authorization, only authentication will be applied. You can also set one or more authentication methods for assessing higher privilege levels. In this example, I will enable AAA authentication and authorization for accessing a higher privilege mode on the switch. I'll define with the method list named SSH. I'll use the command AAA authentication enable authorization SSH TACACS enable, which again references the SSH method list to control access to the privileged levels. To enable session accounting of device management sessions, use AAA accounting login start-stop group TACACS Plus. The switch will then send session start and stop records to the TACACS Plus server. I'll also turn on periodic accounting updates with AAA Accounting Update Periodic 1, which sends updates every minute. The range available is 1 to 65,535 minutes. To enforce command authorization, enter AAA authorization commands 15 SSH TACACS local, which means all privilege level 15 commands are checked with the SSH method list. To create a method list that is used for command accounting, I'll enter AAA accounting commands 15 SSH TACACS. This ensures that each privilege 15 command gets logged via TACACS Plus by the method list SSH, which in this case is TACACS only. Here, the TACACS keyword uses a TACACS Plus server for accounting. Whew, that was a lot of detailed commands. In case you didn't catch all of them, here is a visual summary for your reference. The global AAA setup for your Catalyst 1300 switch is done. In part 2, we'll move on to line configuration, where you'll apply these authentication, authorization, and accounting methods to the interfaces your users connect to. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.